Okay. People are already showing up. Kathy from, where's Kathy from? Montana. Montana's in the hizzle. In the house, as they say. Montana. Bradley Ann, faithful, like Old Faithful in Yellowstone. From California, welcome Bradley. Let's see, clock. Susan, welcome Susan. Alrighty, well we're gonna just start chatting a little bit. It's 6:02. We're coming to you live from historic downtown Stoughton. It's the Ed and Becky Show. My name is Ed. Say hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Becky says hi. We've got two fun projects that are both a tutorial and potentially a kit, or the opportunity to buy the core supplies to make the bracelets or anklets. It is anklet season. It is boho bracelet season as we enter summer. So first, tonight's rules. We did add a new rule in case you're outside of the country, but all our rules are for shipping are always for inside the USA. Shipping's $5.95, but if you order $50 worth, we will always ship it to you for free in the continental United States. If you spend over $100, you'll save an additional 10%, or save 20% if you spend an additional $250. If you've done this before, you know the drill. You'll see a lot presented in front of you, and you just comment sold with that lot number. Some of the lots tonight you'll be asked for a choice of finish, so you may want to remember to include that. And again, if this is your first time shopping with us, we send a secure click and pay invoice to you via Square at the end of the show. But in order to do that, we need to know how to email you. So just send your email to becky@diakonosdesigns.com, or you can also send it in the secure message system inside Facebook, but do not put it in the feed. Alrighty, well, we got 6 or 7 folks already on, so we're gonna go at it. We're making a braided bracelet, and the first project, as you saw on our, was one of the many photos of bracelets. This is a braided pearl bracelet. These pearls are just so pearly. I was just drawn to them, and they have a nice even hole, large hole, so we can braid with them. Becky found this very nautical-esque delicate pearl button. So, and I've paired this right now with natural antique brown for our kits. You can certainly specify a different natural leather if you want to for your kits, but the default will be this natural antique brown. So we're going to learn how to braid, and braiding can be scary, but at the end of the day, braiding is really 3 things. It's you know, there's some of those simple recipes like basic biscuits or whatever, where it's just eggs, flour, and milk, and really the secret to braiding is, and people will charge you zillions of dollars for this information I'm about to flash on the screen, but it's basically just a button, a piece of leather, and some beads. But the trick is to know how many beads for a single, double, or triple wrap. And that's also very size dependent. If you're using tiny beads, you need a lot of them. If you're using large beads, you don't need as many. You can see it varies anywhere from 35 to 15 beads, whether you're using small or large beads on a single wrap. Same is true with the leather. You go for 4, 6, or 9 feet, depending on the project. In reality, you're really at 4, 5.5, and 8 feet here, but then it starts getting fuzzy math. So this is easy math, that you can use a 4-foot segment and make it 32 and a 16. You can use a 6-foot segment and a 9-foot segment. And we sell leather by the yard, so that it just makes it for a little bit easier math. The button you use can be a 2-hole button or a shank button, commensurate with the project. A big manly bracelet, give it a nice big button. And like I said, for this pearl project, we're going to have just a nice little nautical button. But really, and so what you're going to see in this show is, while we are going to sell kits, because buttons and leather are such a commodity, we realize, we're also just going to give you the opportunity to buy the beads that we're using. And you'll see that I had to narrow it down to just 3 different projects for the braiding and about 4 different projects for the anklets. And again, our goal is to spend the last 20 minutes or so talking about anklets. Once I put the shows together, I thought they would each be an individual show, but then I realized once you get going, the concept is very learnable, and we don't necessarily need to, we can fit both of these in a single show. So we're going to talk about braiding first, and then we're going to talk about anklet construction. So if any of you order a kit or order from this show, there's a 2-page instruction, and I will include this. But this is the secret sauce, and this is the other secret sauce. The secret sauce to beading. I think that shows up fully on the camera. People always say, well, you didn't specify what the leather is. Well, that's a good question. It can be 1, 1.5, or 2 mil. But what you want is the fattest leather that'll fit through your bead. And the reason for it, it'll hold it better in place. It's less likely to pop out of your pattern, and it just will keep the bracelet more rigid and uniform. We try not to set down work when you're braiding. And you think about braiding your daughter's hair, you usually do it start to finish. You don't want to stop because it's just kind of hard to stop. I like to hold my project fully in my hand, in one hand, and braid with the other. But some people tape their start of their project to their table with this nice tape. Some will do things like hook it. I'm hoping I just had that example. I don't know where it went. I would have a shower curtain hook. Well, I can just reuse this one here. Oh, there it is. I knew I had it handy. Sometimes people will use a device like this, and it could be like you clip this potentially even over a doorknob or a cabinet knob that you're sitting near, and then you got your button in place, and then you can sit there and pull on it, and put it in a position where you'd be like, just as if you'd be braiding someone's hair. You can now, it's keeping the tension on it, and you don't have to, if you struggle to hold your project and braid. And the reason for that, you don't ever want, if you do set it down, that's fine, but when you pick it up, just be very careful you picked it up the way you left it. If you accidentally flip your project over, you risk actually unbraiding your project as you continue on. When you get into double and triple wraps, your tails will actually start to braid themselves unless you kind of fluff them out periodically. As you're making the braiding motion, the tails aren't necessarily moving very much, so they start to almost like get a braid themselves, and we can kind of try to show that. Finally, the other hot tip is on these long bracelets, especially a triple wrap, you got 3 feet of leather that you're working with initially, and it's cumbersome, so we actually have you tie the beads up 2 feet and just have them be a foot away from your work, and that way you're just pushing the beads up just 1 foot instead of 3 feet. And then as you braid that section, then you simply just move those knots down and you move your beads down. So some of you are thinking, well, what, Ed? It's not what you're talking about sounds strange. Tell me a little bit more. And some of you may not know that braiding is a 3. Well, everyone knows that braiding is done with 3 strands. So let's go there. But what you may not know is that you have to load the beads in advance. It just makes it so much easier to braid. You really can't be braiding and then putting a bead on the end and running it up. So you put your beads on in advance, so you create a 3-stranded project and you put your beads on. So when we talk about loading these beads, it's loading those beads that you've loaded in advance up a little bit more, and as you braid, you actually are pushing up a bead. And then because it's already on the strand, secured with a loose knot, you will be able to do it very easily. So again, this is our first project, and we're just going to show a single wrap for now. It's very easy. We had one of our staff do this with very, very little instruction, and she did this segment in 4 minutes. So I'm confident that if you know how to braid, you'll know how to make braided bracelets. So the trick is always getting started, and we have the long segment and we have the short segment, in this case 32 inches, and I'm just going to fold it in half and find the center. And then I'm going to take the in this case a shank button, but had this been a 2-hole button, I would just go up and down through the button and again find that center. And again, so now we've got our midway point. We're just going to make a overhand knot, or in this case, over Ed's fat finger knot. And we're going to thread it through. And we're going to thread, and we're going to thread, and we're going to thread. And this is called, I call this nudging. The knot wants to go this away, but you want it to go this away. So the trick is just to keep that loop big and just kind of nudge it. And as you get ready to tighten it, you'll be like, oh, where's the 3rd strand come in? Well, that's a very good question. With any knot, you're making an overhead knot like that, there's always something I call the tornado. Look, there's the tornado right there. You can kind of see. There's the eye of the hurricane, or another way to look at it. And what you do is you take the 3rd strand and you just tie a little knot. Don't worry, you're going to trim this off, so don't worry about that. And you just dunk it down the tornado. So, and again, I'm trying to watch this through the phone and giving myself a headache, so I'm just going to watch it. Oops. And you just thread it through. And now, with the 3rd strand in place, you can snug the dickens out of that tornado. And now you've essentially created 3 strands. There you go, 1, 2, 3. And that's what we're going to use to weave. Our next step would be to then start taking your pearls, which, did I put those in my pocket? What did I do with them? Anyway, you just start taking your pearls or whatever you do, and you start threading them on. And after you've threaded them all on, you tie just a very, simple knot like that so that they don't fly off. And you get something that looks like this. So again, this already has the button in place. It's got the tornado tied, and we've magically time-lapsed, and I've got, in this case, 15 beads for this single wrap project, 5 on each and a little bit of magic. You'll be able to see it more on the triple wrap project we're going to show. But let's say these were 3 different colors. It would actually, let's say these were red, white, and blue, as I braided, a red one would pop up, a white one would pop up, and a blue one would pop up. So it would go red, white, blue, red, white, blue, red, white, blue. If instead you wanted them to be all red, then all white, then all blue, you would load all these red, all these white, and all these blue. So it's kind of, sometimes you have to do some math and some thinking and whatever. But the other thing I wanted to showcase in this example is that the middle strand doesn't have to match the outer strands. And I'm not certain I like having this black in the center, but it didn't look bad when I did some sample work with it earlier. But for funsies, I'm just putting some black in the center. And so to keep track of which side of my work is up, in case I were to ever set it down, I usually memorize where this little knobber is. This little knobber is to the right, so that as I if I do set it down, I want to pick it up where this is on the right. So what I usually like to do is get one course of braiding in, and again, you're always taking an outer and going to the center, and then taking the other outer and going to the center, and you have just made a braid. Let's just go one more maybe, then you can kind of see that a braid is happening. And again, you know, you guys have all braided. But anyway, so it's just that simple. We got some braids going. Now, how I like to think of mine, I like to hold mine where the center is kind of parallel with my right or my dominant hand, and then the third strand is, so this right now is obviously the middle strand. And but I like to hold them like this, and then what I do is I follow that down, and I just let the beads slide up, so I don't even have to push them. But you're always sliding up to on the center, and then you're always going over. So you see, I don't even bother to set it down or tape it down. I just go over. And the trick is, keep that nice and snug here, nice and snug here. This by having this kind of here and here, it allows me to pull tightly in each of these two directions that I need to pull tightly. But then it's just wash, rinse, repeat. You know, you slide it up, and then you go over and you go over. So it's always over. It's always from the outside to the inside, and a new strand has become the center. And you can see now it took 3 pulls, but finally the black has made the center. And it's just that easy. And you notice, if you get in a hurry, you can kind of, you know, go over it or get loose. So you just always got to be kind of keeping it nice and tight. And like I said, if you did have to set it down on a table, you could, you know, you just tape it to a tapeable surface. If you had a run, grab the phone, or got a screaming kid. But you guys get the idea here. And I'm going to come back to this in a second and show you something really fun. But even just from this, you can start to see. You can start to see that swiggle of the black if you enjoy that or not. But I'm going to come back to this in just a second because I want to show you how to finish it. So you guys can, you know, all assume me fast forwarding, and I've made all these braids. Then what I usually do is braid a little bit after the fact before I do my sizing. And it's hard for me to do it on my own wrist, but basically when this button touches loosely a certain spot on the bracelet, whether it's here, on this person I'm sizing this for, their wrist, it would be, if I pulled it tight, it would hit right about where I've taped it, or where I've clamped it in this case. And here's a good redneck clamp for you. And so then what I usually do, just like on my braid, I have my 2 and my 1. And what I do is I just make the first of the 2 knots that are going to make the and I suppose I could get these out of the way. These are just the leftover from the beads. Actually, I'll just make my loop bigger and I won't have to worry about that. But anyway, those were the placeholders for the pearls when the pearls were being woven. But anyway, so we're just making a simple overhand knot. And again, we're going to scooch and we're going to scooch and we're going to scooch right back up to where our sizing spot was. So again, this should be all the way around your wrist to the button. Pull tightly, because the reason is this knot, which is going to make the other part of the button, is going to actually size it right to your wrist. So that's going to give you that natural looseness. Now you have some options here, and I didn't bring an example, but if you had a spare bead, you could actually put a spare bead right here as a dangle. Or you could put your, we have these swirl or cinnamon bun beads that have any bead that has like a big hole through it. Could be metal, could be a natural stone. You could use that to create like a little natural dangle area if you wanted to. In my case, I'm just gonna snug it up real good. And because we're using natural leather on these projects, I can just trim it. I don't have to worry about gluing it. And again, this knot's going to really keep this all from unraveling anyway. So I am going to just quick take these out. We'll make our second knot, and then trim any excess leather. We're going to remember to go back up and trim that top. And go back up and trim the top. So this is a smaller button, so I'm putting a smaller space between the 2 holes. Again, snugging it really well. And big man have big fat hands. All right. So yeah, so then that just looks lovely. And then you just trim that guy, and you trim these guys, maybe, a quarter inch from the end. And you've got yourself a gorgeous braided bracelet. And we're going to show you have a choice of buying just the pearls or a single, double, or triple wrap. We're going to show you that in a second. But I promised I'd come back to this project that I was doing. I came up with a new fun thing, playing around right before the show. And so again, we've just pushed up. We've just pushed up because there's a bead there, so we're going to go over. And all of my calculations that I showed you at the beginning assume that you always just keep straight line braiding and pushing beads up. But all of a sudden, I started thinking, wouldn't it be cool to throw another braid in between each bead? And so you may want to experiment with that. It's a different look, but it's kind of cool. So you could do that, mix things up, over, and then you get an extra over, do an extra braid in there, and probably need to do one more to really see it. So again, we're going to go wee, when I teach this, especially if it's with younger people, I always have them go wee when the bead flies up the leather to get into place. Hopefully I'm staying in focus here. And again, over. And again, you can start seeing it's just a very different look. One thing I did notice it does, so one potential hazard of braided bracelets is you can pop each of these individual beads out, but you just pop it back in and it's fine, especially if you're wearing it on your wrist and not jumping around or disco dancing. It's going to stay exactly where you've always put it. But I did notice it was less prone to the pop out by putting that extra braid in between. So that's a new hot tip that you may want to play with on some of your designs. So I know Becky's anxious to do some selling. So the secret sauce in this project is, again, we're going to offer a single. Lot 2 is going to be a single. Lot 3 is going to be a double. Lot 4 is going to be a triple. But just to let you know, if you want to get a strand of these, it's 8-inch strand. It's about 26 pearls. I'm using 15-ish for a single. So you'd have, leftovers for earrings and stuff like that. If you buy a couple, you'd have enough for a triple and still some. But anyway, you can buy these strands just themselves and provide your own. I was using 1.5 millimeter leather. My wife played around, and you could actually fit 2 millimeter leather through these. It is a chunkier look, and you need a bigger button to kind of accommodate for bigger knots at the top. But if you can get the leather through it, give it a try. It also keeps it more likely to keep it snugly together. So if you want to get a strand of these, $16 for 26 pearls, and again, enough to make about 1.5 projects. And again, just remember that lot number 1 is the pearls, if you forget. Lot number 2 is that single wrap, and it's just $14. That's enough pearls. And the metrics say 15 pearls. I'll probably give you 18, just because we're in a good mood and the good Lord's been good to us. So I'll give you a little bit more pearls than the metrics call for. And of course that would include enough leather and the button. So when you're ordering the kits, you're going to get pretty much what's shown, unless you really want to take time to comment on having something other than, I really got to have black leather. Well, just let us know in the comments. We'll make sure your kid has black leather, stuff like that. I had this button does come in copper. This button does come in copper, and that is, again, with the dark brown, people might think, oh, that might look better with copper. So, and I had one, and I can't figure out where I set it down. But anyway, so that's lot number 2. Lot number 3 is the double wrap. Just $11 more, $25. Thanks for getting things going, Bradley Ann. And then there's also the triple wrap. So if you want single, double, or triple, and again, you will get the instructions on any strand purchase and any kit purchase. We will make sure we put in the instructions unless you tell us that you would not need the instructions. So, alrighty, we'll move on to our next project. So we got a lot to cover. So I wanted to showcase something with 2 millimeter leather, and in this case I'm using 2 millimeter black. I'm using a concho button. I'm thinking of this as potentially more of a guy bracelet, but it could certainly be a girl bracelet. The finished project's going to look, you know, something on the lines of these type of projects. But I had some examples from the other day. I love these bicones because they work really well with 2mm leather. So again, not to bore you, I did already get my tornado in place, and in this case I can you know, no need to wait till the end of the project. I can trim that now. And again, as I mentioned before, the metrics for this, for 5mm beads, caused, let's see, a single wrap 5mm, what did that say? Single 5mm, 25 of them. So 25 is not divisible by 3. So I put 27 on, which is fine. So that means I put 9. So I pre-loaded these with 9 beads. And again, you want to start your braid a little bit. And again, I'm just going to show a few courses of this. And again, so if you did get the kits, the default is going to be silver, and the default is going to be black leather, and the default is going to be a concho button. But again, if you do have changes or alterations, let me know. But we're also going to be featuring these beads, so you can kind of see right away. We'll just maybe do a couple more, because you guys are getting the hang of this now. Anna had never done a braided bracelet, and like I said, she did that pearl bracelet in 4 minutes, including that end tail. But she does have long hair. She does have a younger sister with long hair, so she has been braiding probably ever since she could walk. But you can see that, so like I said, a lot of the secret is in knowing how long to have your leather, because there's nothing worse than getting into this project and realizing, oh, I really wanted to make a triple wrap, and I ran out of leather, I ran out of beads, and so it's good to know the science. We provide you the science. We even put it on the video, so that so you can see a little bit thicker leather, metallic. Again, unisex, could be for a guy, could be for a girl. Would look good as a single, double, or triple. So, and it's just following, you know, you just braid again till you run out of beads, and then you check it against your wrists, and if it needs a little bit of a tail, a braided tail, give it a braided tail at the end, and then you split off your 2. You split off your 2 to make your 2 knots, and then you truncate your 3rd one as you do your finishing and sizing. So with that said, lot number 5 is going to be the 24-inch strand of do I have lot number 5? Yeah, so these bicones, there's 24 inches on them. There's enough to make a triple wrap for sure, and possibly 2 double wraps out of a single strand. So these are what these bicones look like, 24-inch strands. They have a 2.5mm hole, and about 130 at least, maybe 140. Well, let's just safely say 130 beads per strand. On lot 5, you do need to specify lot 5S, lot 5B, lot 5G, lot 5C, and so that Becky knows whether we should ship you a silver, brass, gold, or copper. So again, you have your own 2mm leather at home, or you get 2mm leather and a button off our website. you could just get the strands and have the bracelet. But we do have lots 6, 7, and 8 are single, double, and triple. And again, the default's going to be S for silver. Default's going to be black. Default's going to be a concho button. And it's either going to be 10, 17, or 24, depending on whether you want a single, double, or triple wrap. So that's project number 2. We went from pearls in 1.5 millimeter to metallic beads and 2 millimeter leather. If anyone wants lots 6, 7, or 8, just let Becky know. And we're going to move on to lot number 9. This one of my favorite things is to make a triple wrap with the 3.3 millimeter cornerless cubes and use as fat a leather as possible. And it really looks, it really comes out looking really, really cool. On this one, I took the time to load all the silver as one wrap, all the copper as one wrap, and all the gold as one wrap. So I did have to do some thinking on that. This one, I used a different color for the center. I used an orange. I was trying to get a Harley vibe out of this one, so I used 2 strands of black, or the 2 outer strands were black, and this was orange. But this is using as thick of 1.5 millimeter leather as possible. And so now, in this project, I'm only making available as a triple wrap. But you can see I'm just, you know, running, and then these are, and the tails keep going and going and going and going and going. So this is that example of what I had mentioned where you can tie these a little closer so you don't have to go as far. You don't have to, you can only move them 18 inches instead of 36 inches. And you tie a loose knot here. And then after you've ran out of room here, you just take with one hand if you can, or, you know, hold your work and then gently loosen that, move it down maybe a foot, move it down, this one down maybe a foot, move it down maybe a foot, keep it snug. And then you can start braiding again. But this one, I loaded all silver on one, all copper on one, all gold on the other. And what do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen is it's going to kind of become, I'm just going to start this, I'm just going to start this over. And if you guys hear an alarm go off, that's just me saying, okay, when should I start the anklets? But anyway, so you get a little braid start, and once you've gotten it going, and I would say, sorry, I just have to look off to the side. Once you got it going, then we have our kind of our 2 tracks and our single track again, 2 tracks. We're going to pull up from the center bead. In this case, I'm just going to find the end and slide it down and go whee. And that gave me a copper. And then I'm going to go over. And again, you what I call fluffing the tails is sometimes you just have to run your hand down the tails to prevent the leather from braiding itself a second time on the other side. All right, so I know I've got a... All right, that's my reminder. So we might run a little long today, but we'll do our best to finish on time. And those of you that are waiting to see the anklets, we'll hopefully get to those in the next 5 minutes or so. So again, the second strand pulled up, or the second bead pulled up a gold. And some people really love mixed metal. Some people aren't crazy about it, but this is this kit as it comes will come with the metrics say about 35 beads. I'll probably give you at least 42. Again, a nice, you know, number divisible by 3. So you'll get 42 of each of these colors. So again, it'll keep going. It'll keep rotating these colors and be very colorful as you put it on. The default button's copper, but we do have this in silver as well. And again, you could ask for a different button. But again, had we decided that you wanted the first course to be all silver, you would load 14 silver, 14 silver, 14 silver. Then you'd come and load 14 copper, 14 copper, 14 copper. Then you'd come here and load 14 gold, 14 gold, 14 gold. And that's allow yourself some time for these triple wraps because you're doing 120 braids. So, and like I said, when it's done, it looks lovely. I'm just going to try to wrap one around the one that I have here can actually. So again, it gets, it's, I'm into the long tail because this was sized for a woman, but you can kind of see the 3 different colors going on there and the 3 different wraps. So kind of fun. So this one we're just offering in the triple wrap, and with silver, copper, gold, with black, and a copper button. $18 for a triple wrap kit. If you wanted different beads or different leather, just let us know. Otherwise, and Kathy's going to try a lot number 9. Thank you, Kathy. So on this one, the cornerless cubes are our most workhorse metal strand, and they're on our website. We have them in silver, copper, brass, gold, and black. And so I figured, and we could send you a strand of those for $10 if you wanted us to, but you could also order them on the web. $12 if it's black. But I did want to take the time to showcase, and we put it in our most recent newsletter, that we got some cornerless cubes hand patinaed, and I do apologize. I ran out of time to make I really wanted to make a sample with these, but these are the exact same size bead we were just working on. Because they are hand patinaed, there's a bit more labor involved, and that's why they're $15 instead of $10 a strand. But you're getting about 200-ish, 210-ish beads on a strand. There is only 6 of these currently on the planet. So if you do like this color, if this color is your jam, you definitely want to grab one of these strands. Currently, there's only 7 of these on the planet. And this is a blue version of that. Those other ones were brass beads that were patinaed into that green. These are copper beads that were patinaed into this blue. So Sue's grabbing a couple of, and Kathy are grabbing some of those greens. And I think that leaves still 3 left on the greens. There's still 7 left on the blues. And these are just gorgeous. Bradley's going to take a blue. So know that all those other cornerless cubes are on our website. It looks like those, oh boy, those 11s are flying. We might get close to selling out. I think we only have 7. I might have 1 in my squirrel stash, but the reason they call it Squirrel Stash. Alrighty. So I've got a what we do with our anklets. We're going to talk anklets now. Again, ran out of time. You can make anklets out of anything, and in fact, I just made a chain anklet, 3 custom chain anklets for a customer this morning, and it was such a great design. I thought I'm going to have that as one of my anklet designs on my show, but I just really ran out of time, and I do apologize. But know that anklets can be made out of chain, if you have the ability to do stainless steel chain, that's always good. We like to use 1mm Genya. Genya is a man-made product. It's synthetic leather. It's vegan leather if you want to look at it. It's mostly rubber. It's kind of rubbery in consistency and surrounding fused around natural fibers in the center. It's very durable. It's actually even more durable than leather. But the biggest benefit is it really holds up well in the water. And who is using stuff in the water? Well, anyone that's wearing an anklet is, your dream is to be hand in hand with your bow, splashing in the surf, and the secret sauce to anklets, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but the secret sauce is that we use Genya. We make our production anklets 9 to 10 inches long, adjustable between 9 and 10. That fits most people, but we also make 10 to 11 inch size that fits the rest. Every now and then we'll find someone that needs a 12-inch anklet. There's nothing wrong with that. They just got big ankles, or they might have edema, which is called swelling in their ankles. Nothing wrong with that. The other thing for sizing is when do I stop beading? And you usually take your finish size minus 1 1/4 inch for your closure set, and that gives you your length to bead. So for a normal anklet, you're going to bead 7 3/4 inches, and if you're making a large anklet, you're beading 8 3/4 inches, and it's just that easy. So what I'm going to show you today is kind of, again, the same concept. It's just beads, it's just spacers, and it's really knowing about how to construct them. So the secret sauce in this show is going to be the naked anklet kit, and it's special today for just $5. You're going to get a foot of the Genya. You're going to get the 1, 2, 3 punch, which is 1 lobster, 2 foldovers, and 3 4mm jump rings. 1 1-inch segment of 5.7mm roller chain that's going to serve as your adjustable or extender chain, if you want to think of it as that. And then a fun charm, nautical themed, something that would always look good on an anklet. It's with hundreds of charms, it's hard to specify what type of charm you're going to want on each project, but know that if you got the naked anklet kit, we're going to put a fun charm that you would enjoy, but you can always specify a charm. So we're going to show you 4 different projects, but also then the biggest thing is we're going to showcase the naked anklet kits, and then we're going to close with some premium anklets and get you on your way. This is I have 8 of these. I found these gorgeous 6mm mixed stone strands. They're faceted. They're only $11 each. Oh my God, is it really? These might have been lot 11 in another show. I wonder what. Let's see. Where did I put my? Oh no. Not 11. 12, so it must be a lot 13 somewhere. Rainbow, nautical, floral. Well, I am missing a, oh, maybe I'm not, yeah, maybe I wasn't selling these by themselves. My bad. I thought I must have been missing a lot, but I'm not, because we've gone through lot 11 already, right, Becky? All right, so, all right, but anyway, this is an idea. So you find, you might have strands of 8-inch natural stones at home, or Picasso beads, whatever. And you can just turn those into an anklet. In this case, I just took my 12-inch piece of Guinea, tied a little loose knot on one side, tied a little loose knot on the other, or before I tied a loose knot on the other, I just strung that strand. And in this case, I decided to pair it with antique brass. And so there's antique brass spacers on here, and really all this is the naked anklet kit and the strand. The strand is $11. The naked anklet kit is I just saw that there was 2 spacers together, and again, we were putting this together in a hurry before the show, so I'm just going to quick fix that. So there's a number of ways you could we could use the squeezy ends for these. I still think it's more secure with Guinea to do a fold over, and when I do a fold over with 1mm, I actually do it like this, and I'll show you. But anyway, this is my this is our naked kit, and again, the naked kit has the Guinea, which I already have, and then it's got 2 foldovers. So what I like to do is fold it into there, and then it'll actually help it stay in place, and that way you're getting it super secure. So I like to use my bent nose, and again, I'm just going to look away, so I hope I'm keeping this on screen. And I just squeeze it down, and then you're just making a little burrito. You're just folding in one side of the burrito. Oops. You're just folding in one side of the burrito, and then you're gently folding in the other side. It does take a little trick to not get this to scooch on you. But then you just squeeze it down really good. You're going to take this little tail here and trim it. I always like to have also ended my spacer bead with a spacer, but you don't have to. You're going to see on some of Becky's premium anklets, she just uses goes right to the bead on the end. It's fine to do. All right, so I had already had this segment pre-measured as 8 3/4 inches of beads, because I'm going to be making a large anklet for this. So then the trick is to do that same motion over here. And what I usually do is I curl my work so that I know that I haven't pinned this so tight that the anklet's not even going to move. And again, you'll see it does kind of stay in there when you fold it over like that. And these are kind of a standard 9mm fold over. And great for 1, 1.5, and even up to 2mm leather. And then again, you just make sure it's squished down. You got a little excess from your 1 foot of Guinea, trim that. There, so now we've got our beaded segments. Just that lovely. That's going to look great on somebody's ankle. And now it's the 1, 2, 3. So we got 3 of those 4mm rings. Sue is loving these mixed stones, so I do have the right quantity. There is only 8 of these available, so of course now I have to look off to the side. So again, when you're using your jump rings, you always push forward and back. And so on one side, you're going to put your lobster. And again, we use a 12mm lobster as kind of our workhorse for production projects. You could certainly use smaller, you could certainly use larger. And again, I do apologize. I'm having a hard time seeing through the camera, so I'm just looking away here, but I'll get it back on camera. And then you always want to make sure that you've got no gap this way, no gap this way. So we got one side done. Second side is on one side we're going to attach our charm with one of those rings, and then with the other side we're going to attach it to the other side of the anklet. Boom, bada, boom. And just like that. So that's so again, all we had is a strand that you might have in your drawer at home, and then we just had the naked anklet kit that created all the rest of the infrastructure. You provide your own beads, you provide your own spacers, and you get a lovely lovely anklet. And in this case, there were this many beads left over on an 8-inch strand. You could maybe make some matching earrings. But how cool is that for an anklet? So so we're getting to the naked kits. I just wanted to show you that as we do the charms, you know, there's a variety of charms. Some of my favorites that I use for anklets are conches and starfish. I like to use hearts. I like to use these little bare feet, because your bare feet typically when you're wearing an anklet. I love this little birdie. I do also have a little dolphin that I use a lot. But anyway, trust that if you get a naked kit, you're going to get a charm that you love. And I see some people already wanting the naked kits, but hang on, we're going to get there. So now that you know how the drill goes, there's 3 other anklet kits that we're making available, and these next 3 all use 6mm miracle beads. The kits are going to come with 28 beads, and of course all the spacers. That's enough to make a large. You only need 24 of those 28 if you're making a regular size. And again, the default is always going to be S or silver on these miracle bead ones, but you can specify switching that out. Just let Becky know. So lot 13 is going to be this rainbow project. Good. Terry said yeah, that's cool. Very cool. Very cool, Terry. All right, lot 13 is the rainbow anklet kit for $14. If you are lazy, I shouldn't say if you are not lazy, if you are other occupied and want to buy it finished, these are only $22 finished. So if you want to pay me $8 to make it, I will make it. Just specify 9 to 10 inches or 10 to 11 inches. And say, give me a finished one. And if you have a charm preference, let us know that. But these 3, while we have many production anklets, these 3 are our best sellers. By far, the rainbow being the most popular. This medley I call nautical. And again, nautical is going to be lot 14. And again, you'll get enough beads to make up to an 11-inch adjustable anklet. So And again, the kit will come with everything you need. The kits for the anklets do not per se have instructions, but I trust you'll be able to, especially by rewatching the video, be able to figure it out. Oh, good. Kathy and Bradley and Debbie are loving the nautical. Can't go wrong with the nautical. This one I always think is for young women, but I see women of all ages wearing this. I call it floral. And in fact, I just made a bunch of these because we had ran out. Lot 15 is a floral anklet kit, $14. And again, everything you need to make this in a large or small size. Susan's going to try one of the nauticals as well. And we've got lot 15 is the floral. Kathy's loving the nautical too. All right, so lot 15. All righty. I'm going to wait for Becky to catch up a second. Yep. So Kathy, on your second one, did you want? Yep. There you go. There you go, Kathy. There you go. So we'll go through these naked kits slowly. So the naked kits, there's going to be 5 of them total. So trust that your finish will show up. But I just wanted to kind of make sure everyone was clear what's in a naked kit. Again, and there's a foot of guinea. There's the 1, 2, 3 punch, 1 lobster, 2 foldovers, 3 jump rings. We use 4mm 18 gauge jump rings. They're really secure. Then you got an inch, and I usually give people an 1 1/4 just to be safe on the 5.7mm Rollo. It works as a perfect extender chain. And then you get a charm. The default on these naked kits will be the charm that is shown in here, but you can also specify a different charm. So I know Jessica did say 2 naked kits, but now you got all kinds of choices. So that was lot 16 silver. Lot 17 is antique silver. And it's like, who would want antique silver when you have silver? But if you're a designer, there's people that just love that silver ox or you know, the look of silver, especially with some of the premium beads. So this one I'm showcasing a starfish, with the same 1, 2, 3, an inch of chain, 12 inches of guinea, and that's lot 17, a naked antique silver. Lot 18 is antique copper. And for antique copper, I'm showcasing the antique copper conch. But again, we do have other options. Just, you know, shout out a charm, we probably have it. I like to use 2-sided charms, or charms that are, you know, when you look at it in either direction, it's the same. That because your leg does flip around and flop around, and you certainly could have a 1-sided charm and just make sure it's always hanging out. Then you have to kind of keep half an eye on how you're putting it on. So again, lot 18 is naked antique copper, and again, currently showcasing the conch shell. And it's we're not doing too bad. We just got really to finish these nakeds, and then just I want three more lots of cool strands. I want to show you guys how Becky makes her anklets, and of course, look at that, boy! I think I missed everything there in the bag. That's what I get for looking through the camera. It's like for some reason you just lose your depth perception. Alrighty. Moving on. Lot 19 is antique brass, and just like the anklet we just did, it's featuring a heart. Can't ever go wrong with featuring a heart. Who doesn't love a heart? And lot 20 is gold. And I found this, we don't have a ton of these, but we do have some for now. Enough. And it's this cute little, gold bumblebee. Bzzz. So yeah, hopefully your friend won't swat your ankle and say, "Hey, there's a bug on your ankle," but they'll say, "No, it's just my little gold bee." And sometimes, you know, there's different gold finishes. There's one that's always more greeny yellow, and then there's one that is just like royal gold. And our gold is that, you know, that nice yellowy royal gold. So that's lot 20. And if you need a minute, Becky, I'll give you a minute to catch up, and then I just got 3 more lots and we'll get you on your way. I haven't figured out what we're doing on the 22nd, but I'll figure it out. That one's a late show. It starts at 8 p.m. Central. You West Coast folks will love that, because you'll just be finishing up your TV dinner around that time. And well, not TV dinner. You'd be, of course, having a very lovely dinner. But anyway, so that's 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Thursday the 22nd. So that's actually 3 weeks out. Part of the extra 1 week gap is we're off camping. We're going to be camping in if Wisconsin's a hand, there's the thumb is Door County. We'll be camping in Door County, as is our annual tradition. It's our one big getaway each year. And so we'll have that on the 22nd. Then Becky's going to have a show on July 7th. That'll be after her mom's in town, so who knows? Maybe we'll have her mom join in. Or not. But that'll be after that. Are you caught up, Miss Beck? All right. So, and then there's July 20th, Thursday, July 20th. We're currently on the wait list for the Appleton Art Fair, and it's a really good show for us. We really enjoy it, and we've gotten a great response for it. But it's not looking like the wait list is going to help us this year like it did last year. So I thought, well, we'll bring the Appleton Art Fair to the public and showcase some of our new and gorgeous jewelry that we have. So this is how Ed makes an anklet, but this is how Becky makes an anklet. She's like, I got all these pretty, insanely gorgeous size 2 Picasso beads. I should make anklets with them. But at the end of the day, the infrastructure is identical. So you could get yourself a strand of size 2 beads. Actually, a strand of size 2 beads would make comfortably two large anklets. And if you put spacers in there, you could get probably 3 anklets out of a full strand of these. So this just showcases that she's not necessarily putting a spacer in every spot. She's putting them here and there. She's using those bicones that we just talked about. Here looks like some more bicones. Every now and then she's throwing on a centerpiece. But and these are just some yummy beads. This one is from a strand I like to call Caliente. So anyway, so I didn't find these exact mixes, but I found 3 mixes that I thought you might enjoy if you wanted to make a premium anklet. So again, all you'd have to do is grab any spacers you desired and a naked anklet kit, and like I said, you could make it, there's 20 linear inches, so you could make 2 large ones for sure, possibly 3 if you're pumping in some spacers. But we have just 4 strands of this. I'm calling this Bright Summer. But the reason I picked this, again, it just looks very nautical, very anklety, very summery. And we do have just 4 strands available. Deb's going to grab one. Thank you, Deb. And again, these are size 2 beads. They have at least 1.5 millimeters and oftentimes a 2 millimeter hole on them. And Jessica's going to take one, so there's still 2 left. But you can't beat these. Unless you like the Caliente. And I only have 3 of the Caliente. And you're like, Ed, these probably have real names, but this is the Caliente. Very fallish, but if you like red chili peppers and Southwest, again, there's only 3 of these currently available. And again, would make a beautiful, striking anklet. Men would come running up to you on the beach from probably 100 feet away and say, girl, that anklet is just so caliente, as they say. Can I see it? So anyway, just thought you might love those. Deb's going to give one a try. There's still 2 available if you likes the Caliente. All right. And then finally, lot 23. I'm calling it Seashore, and it's a lighter muted greens, muted blues. You know, I'm thinking of like an East Coast seashore. Could be a North Coast, Lake Superior seashore. We have 4 of these strands, again designed for making premium anklet. Could you braid these? Absolutely. No reason to not try braiding them. I haven't braided anything that's a little bit squatty. You know, things that are symmetrical or even elongated tend to braid really well. But that would be a good experiment. Oh, and are there? Yeah, yep. LKW out of Iowa says, yeah, there's some stripies in here. If he likes the stripies. So that creates a little bit of extra boho on your. So that's lot 23. There's just 4 of those available. So again, we did run a little long. I appreciate all of you that stayed to the end. So again, if this is your first time, I don't know if we had any first-time buyers tonight, but if this is your first time, be sure to email Becky at theakinosdesigns.com. That's how we are able to send you a secure click-and-pay invoice. We will be monitoring the feed for another 10 to 15 minutes. But after that, be sure, if you do want to add to your order, be sure to just send an email to Becky, because that's the easiest way to make sure that your add-ons or late shopping does not get ignored. If you are done shopping, you can also let us know that as well. And again, if you hit any of these levels, Over $50, you get free shipping. Over $100, you're going to get some discount. Over $250, we're going to treat you like a rock star and give you 20% off. So anyway, we appreciate you joining our braided bracelet and anklet show, and I hope this gave you a lot of ideas. And again, we're fine if you use your own beads. We're fine if you use your own leather. We're fine if you use your own buttons. And but we'd love to, we know that you know that they're on our website, and if you need them, we're right here for you and can ship them right to you. So other than that, we're going to see you again in 3 weeks on Thursday the 22nd, again at 8 p.m. Central. And thank you all for joining us today, and God bless, and we will see you again soon.